Hello everyone, Kathy the Vegan Prepper here, and today we are going through the process of turning this into this. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Do-do-do, do-do-do, vegan prepper. Do-do-do, do-do-do, vegan prepper. Okay, so this process is gonna be just insanely simple. I'm almost reluctant to make the video, but I guess it's good to show how simple the process is, because basically all I'm going to do is wash this and then slice it and throw it on dehydrator trays and then dehydrate it at 125 until it's dry and jar it, and that's it. No blanching, no other prep work involved. It just couldn't be any easier. So I'm going to link to a video below, the video that I watched, among many, but my favorite, of course, by Tammy Gangloff, and I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing her name, but she wrote the complete dehydrator cookbook. It's a book that I follow. I'll link that down below too. And I just loved that video, and basically she showed you don't have to blanch celery. If you want to blanch it, you can, but it was really interesting to see the difference in the size reduction. So when you blanch celery, it doesn't get nearly as small as when you don't blanch it. And because one of my chief desires is to save a lot of space, I am not blanching my celery because I want, 9 full giant heads of celery to fit in a space this big instead. And so that is basically exactly these 2 jars were 9 of these. 9 of these fits into 2 of these. And that is what I am after, putting it on my shelf. And so I just have the last bits of an amazing wholesale organic celery haul that I got. I have a local wholesale produce place that I check out all the time, and I go and grab whatever I can whenever I can. And so I'm going to go ahead and finish this up. So let's go ahead and just get right into the process of how I actually cut and dehydrate the celery, even though it is literally exactly as simple as what I just told you. You don't even need to watch the video anymore. You can just skip to the results. You don't even really need to do that, because here are the results of the last time I did it. I'm really bad at this. All right, so just sort of one by one, I'll wash these and chop them up and get them onto the dehydrator trays. Okay, so I managed to dehydrate something like 24 bunches of celery, I believe, when it was all said and done. And so this most recent version of the project, which I made for this video, I did cutting everything by hand. And so I just wanted to show these results that I got, and you know, they're still totally fine. It was way faster and easier to do the prep work with my knife than it was to do it with the mandolin. And I don't know if I discussed the first time around I did it with the mandolin. However, I believe the finished product is better having used the mandolin. And so I'm just sort of looking at the differences between these jars, and I'm noticing that the ones that I cut with the knife. So for one thing, I was trying as hard as I could to be as accurate as I could on the thickness of the slices, but it just is very difficult when you're slicing, you know, a large thing to get it to be accurate. So I'm noticing a color difference. If you see, I don't know if you can see so much in the video. Yeah, you can see it. This is a much brighter, more beautiful green. This has a lot more kind of a yellowish green tone to it. Now, also that could possibly be from the fact that these were dehydrated much later than these were. So I think it was like a week in between these two dehydrating projects. And so it's possible that the celery kind of just was not as fresh, and so that's why the color difference is there. But I think it's also possible that it has to do with the fact that the smaller pieces would have dehydrated faster. And so basically what we would have to do, and what I'm just saying, I'm not going to do it anytime soon, but what we would have to do to really test this theory is to take some celery, maybe even from the same bunch, and mandolin some of it, and then slice some of it with a knife, and then see if there's a color difference in that. But regardless, from now on, I guess I will be using my mandolin, even though after doing, you know, I think it was 9 bunches of celery I did with my mandolin, the first project, my wrist was hurting quite a lot because I was just taking the bunch of celery and holding it as tight as I could and then like running it through the mandolin. And that's how I got a bunch of really nice even slices. But like I said, it was sort of hard on my wrist, but we'll see. But anyway, I just thought I'd like share that tidbit with you guys, because if you're watching a video like that, like this, it is likely that you're seeking information. So here, I'm trying to give you that information. But you know, this still worked. And so now the question is going to be about rehydrating these. What's the difference going to be like in that? Is there going to be a difference in the rehydration between these and the smaller ones? Especially because for my purposes, I'm planning on crumbling these up as I add them into things like instant noodles or instant mixes that I make. I'm planning on not even leaving them this big. So this is from the mandolin. And so I'll be crushing those. That's my plan anyway. They are very crushable right now as is. So like here's a big piece from one of the ones I just cut, and it's just like, boom, it like just crumbles. There's no, like almost no resistance whatsoever. It just crumbles in your fingers. So that will be easy, I believe, to just sort of crumble into a mix. It might not require something like a food processor to do that, but we'll see. So for now, the newest batch is gonna condition, and then, yeah, we'll see how it turns out in future videos and future recipes. I will say also really fast, because I did majorly overload those trays. I'm sure somebody is going to comment on the fact that I really overloaded the trays. I was just trying to get it all done and into my dehydrator, and it still worked out, but I will say it took at least 2 days for everything to fully dry, and it was probably because of how overloaded everything was. It's the first time ever I have seen a difference in the trays themselves in my Excalibur. That the bottom trays took much longer to dehydrate than the top trays. And I'm used to seeing stuff like that in my Nesco, because the circulatory element is up at the top of the machine, versus in the Excalibur, it's in the back. So it's supposed to be more even, which I have. Yeah, it's kind of true. That's why at one point I had the trays, I flipped them around, because even with the Excalibur, it's helpful to flip the trays around to take the front to the back, because still the circulatory element's in the back, so the stuff in the back will dry faster than the stuff at the front. But I think it's because of how overloaded the trays were. There was actually some dripping happening, some moisture, because when I was checking it to see if it was time for me to turn the trays around, I would pull off the front, I don't know if it's a lid or a door, I guess like that front door piece, pulling that off to look inside, and it would actually drip. It was dripping onto the floor. There was so much condensation forming on that door that it was dripping. So I think that the upper trays were dripping onto the lower trays, and that's another reason why the lower trays were taking so much longer to dehydrate versus the upper trays. Even though I've never seen that before, because I've never overloaded my Excalibur like I did for this project. So I'm sort of testing, like I'm testing my limits here. So just like when I was a little kid, just always testing my limits. So anyway, I guess that's all. So hopefully that was useful to you and you got something out of that. If you have any more questions or comments, or you want to like say, you know, ways of doing things better, let me know in the comments down below, and I will definitely look forward to hearing from you and respond to you as needed. So anyway, as always, I hope the rest of your day is good and your life stays wonderful. Thank you so much for watching. See you later. Bye.